Welcome to Lightning Talks for Legal Innovators. Thank you all for being here. My name is Brittany Hernandez, and I am your host for this Lightning Talk series in partnership with Gavel. I'm a lawyer, a veteran, a Gavel expert, and professional no-code, low-code developer, and the founder of Chromium Academy, where we have Gavel certification courses, as well as courses in software, Airtable, Go Full Page, and more. I'm actually joining you from Mexico City today, where I'm honored to be one of 6 instructors from the Eduardo Garcia Mena seminar, where I'm teaching the students about Gavel and legal productization. Today, Manuel Hornos, an account manager at Brevity, will discuss the topic of strategic building of automated internal processes using Gavel. Feel free to post your questions in the chat as you think of them, and Manuel will pick them up once he concludes. After questions, I'm going to share some announcements, and then we're going to have a bonus live demonstration of the brand new bundles feature that was just launched by Gavel this week by the amazing Tricia Duffin. After Tricia's demo, you're free to stay on the call for an optional 3 minutes of speed networking, where we'll invite a few people to just introduce themselves for about 1 minute each. You can let me or Tricia know in the chat if you'd like to introduce yourself during that portion of the call. I'd now like to introduce today's speaker. Manuel is joining us from Buenos Aires, Argentina. He is a passionate and dedicated law student at the University of Buenos Aires and a graduate of Cardinal Newman College. For the past 2 years, he has been an integral part of the legal operations team at Brevity. Brevity is the first platform for lawyers and their clients that, through artificial intelligence, document automation, and data digitization, proposes the digital transformation of business law. It frees professionals from routine tasks, allowing them to provide greater added value to their services at a low cost. So thank you so much for being with us today, Manuel. The floor is now yours.
Okay, thank you very much, Brittany, and thank you all for being here. I will now just want to share my screen and show you some presentation I prepared. The title of this topic is Strategic Building for Automated Internal Processes. First of all, I wanted to thank Brittany and Ezekiel for allowing me to talk about this and give me the opportunity. And well, first of all, I chose this topic because the conversation, I think, is really important, and it's a key aspect of how we work with technology. So I wanted to highlight the importance of strategic building, and to rethink and rebuild our internal processes is a key aspect of how technology will have an impact on the way we work. So the next slide is why an automation. I think this is important it's an important question to be asked, because if not, we'll have a great idea, but poorly executed. So we should think in these 3 key aspects I highlighted in terms of, if we really wanted to use automation, we should at least solve one of these 3 problems. The first one being reducing labor-intensive tasks. They are really, first of all, really boring for everyone. The employee won't be satisfied if his work is like all about these labor-intensive tasks. They're really repetitive, monotonous, and it costs like a lot to have a lot of paralegal or whatever is your business working this side of task. They're really repetitive, and it's a huge way we can have an impact on the way we work. The other one is minimize delays and errors. Of course, you have internal processes where you have a lot of errors and being just delayed all the time. You should be thinking about the redesign, and an automation is maybe the key to actually think about how you will change it. And cost analysis, of course, automation will be great if you can cut some errors and delays. And the other aspect is, if you want to be scalable, this is really important for the growing of your business. If you want to scale a lot, you should always be thinking of, okay, can this be automated? Can this be like this process being rethink in a way this could be scalable? So these aspects, or these 3 keys are like an idea, like, okay, if I have one of these 3 problems being solved, I think we're in a good path to continue. And the next slide is the 3 steps to actually build this kind of internal processes. So we're talking about identifying the right scenario for being applied, the first step. So we thought about the general idea, like the 3 keys I highlighted earlier. And now we're talking about a specific way we're going to benefit from the automation process. So we should rethink the way, in general, our processes are being applied. We should have this being mapped always helped me to think about the whole process, like how we internally pass from like a funnel, people working in a document, maybe commenting, emails being sent, questions being made, and to the last part of the process, an output document or whatever the last part is. I think thinking it as a whole and identifying where automation should be part of it is the first step, and is key to use it well. This technology of automation should be used in a way that benefits your employer, and well, all your costs and errors will be down. But if you use it in a way you want to replace workers or whatever, I think you're in a bad approach to it. So I will pass to the how to build it. This is what Gavel shines. I think this is a great platform, a great software to build this kind of internal processes. It absolutely has all you think you need and more. I think Gavel shows a great user-friendly software where you can, of course, personalize everything you wanted. You have a lot of options to interact with it, a lot of questions being made and answers in different even languages. That's a huge opportunity for us. Of course, at Brevity, we used it and it had helped us to solve a lot of problems. And the third step is continuous development. I think I cannot stress enough the importance of just always thinking about, okay, we have this process up and running, but how we should be improving it. Of course, you think that when you put an automated process into work, it's up and running, and you should be like, okay, this should save me a lot of time. But if you continues develop and continues think about how you can save a lot amount of time, it will just be great for in the long run. Of course, if you have scalable problems and delays and errors, the general ideas we want to solve, and we talked about, the continuous development should be your key aspect to always be working on your internal processes for actually being like the best way they should. I think it's really important, and I actually work on this every day. So I cannot stress enough the importance of continuous development on your automated services. And okay, I'll now show you some aspects of how we internally work it at Brevity. This is actually an example of the real workflow that we used. The first thing you want to think about is some simpler questions for you to just get the right kind of follow-up questions to be made. So if you think about the internal process in a way, you should release frictions in between two teams. For example, in the way we apply it is the sales teams has to make the SLA, the contract for the client to be signed, but the legal team how does the legal team work with the sales team to that contract be perfect sense? This is a key aspect for our business. Like, we should not have errors, we should not have delays there, and that's how automation solve this problem. So we first ask the simplest question, then to being more and more complex to actually get the perfect document. The first one being the language. It's easy to identify in which language you will have to write the client, to send the client the contract. So this is where we get to possible follow-up questions, to alternatives of the actual process, and the output document will have an impact on this. topic you choose. So later on, the follow-up question is like, there are two kind of SLAs for sales or for a trial, and then this has an impact. This have been impacted with the previous question. So if it's in English or in Spanish, or if it's a sales or a trial, we have like 4 alternatives, 4 possible documents being sent to the sales team. That's how we solve like a lot of problems with just 2 or 3 questions. And now the sales team can load all the information of the client and have the output document they need really easily, and with not having this kind of question being asked all the time, will the legal team or whatever. So we have 4 output documents possible, and the thing is we just solved it with 2 questions, really easy, really fast. And the third steps is where the continuous development, I think it should take into account. So I made some question about the client, which is the name of clients, is just an example of the questions where I think the legal team needed to have the information that wasn't on the SLA. I mean, which is the name of client in the mean of the who works with the client. So that wasn't in part of the contract, but we needed the sales team to track what kind of contracts are being signed, at which date, with whom. So that kind of information, we wanted to track them. We wanted to see everything that the sales team sent to our clients. So if you automate it and you see, okay, this is great for the sales team, and then you just have to think about the feedback or how to track it. And that's where this page specifically applies, because there's a bunch of questions here in these kind of questions where it just applies to ask the legal team to know more information about the contract that is being sent. So we track it. These kind of questions, they just go to an Excel via Zapier, and they will just be useful for us for tracking the contract and their key aspect. So now we have a process where in previous terms, we had, for example, a lot of emails being sent between sales team and the legal team. We have a bunch of friction being building up in how we should do this and whose fault was it when an error occurs or a delay. And now we have one simple process automated for the sales team, and we, the legal team, have the access and the point of tracking it as easily as possible. Now all the questions are not sent via Slack, via email, or we don't have to go, oh, where is it, the final document put on, where, when is it signed, or whatever. We have all this key aspect automated, put it on a spreadsheet, and we can just simply get it there for us to track it really easily, and just we release a lot of friction between these teams. I think here we can see a really, in these 3 steps, I think we have continuous development in the aspect of the tracking was a key part of where the information of these contracts are. And that was an idea that occurred to me later on when the process was already up and running. So we use this continuous development key to, in practice, to actually build up this internal process in a better way. How to build it was just maybe trial and error, but we have to build it in terms of solving all the problems that can be solved in a way that is just better for our employees or for ourselves to work with. And we started to thinking about this process from start to finish. We didn't, we map it out in a way we could solve all our problems with just one simple software, in this case, Gavel.
Thank you, Manuel. I really appreciate it. And it's interesting because a lot of the time when we are using this tool, we're often thinking about this from the perspective of how can we solve the problems for our clients. but sometimes we overlook the fact that we can solve internal problems with this tool as well. And so it's versatile enough to address both internal and external automation challenges for our employees internally, as well as for our clients. So we do have a question in the chat. I'm going to leave this one for Tricia when she's ready for her bundles demonstration, because it's specifically asking about a bundles feature. So thank you for that question. I'm just going to open it up really quick for some questions for Manuel. If anyone has any questions about how Brevity uses this based on what you saw, maybe anything around different challenges or specific differences between how we use it in the US versus how it's used in Argentina, for example, that's fine as well. Alex has a question in the chat that says, when you have questions for Spanish versus English, do you have conditional pages, or then that pushes into different workflows completely? Alex, do you want to elaborate on your question? Nice to see you, by the way.
Hi. So yeah, I just wanted to find out, like, I understand that you probably have conditional documents based on that choice of English versus Spanish, that the document may be in different language, but do you have other pages versus just the document being produced in a different language? So that, let's say, if somebody chooses English, that any subsequent pages are actually all in English?
Actually, no, because as it is internal, all the workflow is just made for us. The questions are made in Spanish, but I have the conditional pages applied to, so the output document will be in English when our sales team suggested. I don't know if it's answered your question. Yeah.
That's a really good question, and that's really thinking behind the scenes as a user of the Gavel platform for many years, Alex. I think that's a great perspective. So if there's any other questions, you're welcome to put them in the chat. As I mentioned, we will get to the other question after we do the bundles demonstration, just so that you can have a little bit, so everyone can have a little bit of context about bundles before we address a specific question. So I'm just going to quickly wrap us up a little bit before the demonstration to let you know about a few things. So I'm just going to quickly share my screen. And you can reach out to Manuel at this LinkedIn, Manuel Hornos here. And then from my side, I'll be hosting the live session of the Core 5 cohort for Command Academy's completely revised Gavel certification courses that were developed in partnership with Gavel expert Megan Sautel. We're going to be kicking off Basics Week on Thursday, September 14th at 10 a.m. Pacific time, so you can join us by going to chromiumacademy.com. But I wanted to leave enough time for Tricia to demonstrate the brand new bundles feature that was just released earlier this week. So Tricia, I'm going to go ahead and let you take it away for a few minutes before we go to Dispute Networking.
Thank you, Brittany. Hi, everybody. My name is Tricia. I am the customer success lead for Gavel, and I'm super excited to show you guys our bundles feature. I'm going to go ahead and share my full screen here. So you may not see me anymore, but you'll see the lovely bundles dashboard I have set up here. All right, so here is our new bundles dashboard. It's located on your sidebar, just as you would see for your other features that you have as you log into Gavel. I have one bundle that I created earlier already here, and you can see like what it looks like to have them listed here. But I'm going to start you from the very beginning on what is a bundle and how we actually create bundles. So bundles are a way for you to be able to take all of the workflows you have on your account. This is a builder seat here, and I have all these workflows that are accessible to me to be able to put together into a bundle to then use and give to either internal use or external use for clients to be able to take all the different workflows that may be connected and interconnected that you want them to take together. So if I go back to my bundles dashboard here, I'm going to pick a new bundle. I'm going to name it, I'm going to name this one LT Demo, and you're going to give a description for it. Now, the description is going to be what is going to be displayed on the bundle card. So it's good to give a good little description of what you're going to be providing your users or potential buyers of your bundle product. Next, we're going to go ahead and pick the workflows we're going to attach to this bundle. You can attach as many workflows as you'd like. You can have 1 to 2 to 5, however many workflows you have, you can attach them together here. I'm going to go ahead and add 3 different workflows and use this as my NDA kind of expansion pack in essence. You can have this made to take in order, and this is going to allow your workflows to flow together. And this might answer a little bit of the question that you've asked in your chat. What this does allow with data persistence is data to be moved from workflow to workflow, much like you would do in any other workflows that data would persist through. When you push data in Data Manager for the user, that data will move through as well. If you do set this to go in order, you do have the capability to move things around. You can edit your workflows directly from here. You can remove it and add it again, however you need to do to set up the sequence. Next is the fun part. This is where you get to actually put the pricing on it. You can put a free. This is good for internal use. If this is something you want to have access to over and over again to run this bundle as needed, they can do that for free here. You can also set it as a flat rate, and the flat rate will allow you to create different payment steps. This is through Stripe Connect, and in our Learning Center, we have a bunch of information on how to connect your Stripe Connect. It's different than the Stripe setup that you currently have if you're using paywalls in our workflows. But what this will allow you to do is to track and monitor behavior through Stripe Connect, and gives you a lot more data sets. So even if you have one workflow that you just like to have a paywall on, I'd recommend using the bundle feature, because this will allow you to be able to monitor better on Stripe Connect. I'm going to add a payment step here. And this payment step is going to be either before beginning the whole workflow or before documents are generated. So you do have options on what people will pay for that workflow. So for this one, I'm going to say before beginning on my second workflow. So the first workflow is in essence free. It's just a sample intake form. They're filling out that information. But before they get to that commercial NDA, I want them to pay $250. And this will allow us to get that payment first before they even start the next workflow. I can even add a second step here. So if you want to have this before documents are generated in the transaction NDA, and then I can set that for another $250. So this will be a $500 total bundle. Once I've set my different payment steps and I've got it before where I want them to be, I'll finalize my bundle and I'll have it directly on my dashboard here. You'll see it's all listed here. You get the type, you get the price point for the full bundle. You can delete, duplicate. You can also generate code to embed the bundle card on your website. This allows that bundle card to live on your website that they can access to run as needed as well. You can also have a link to the bundle. This will be something that you might have a button for or send in an email, things like that. And you can also assign, and this is very useful if you have specific email domains like your team at yourlawfirm.com, but you can also send it to specific users. And so I'm going to send this to my basic user account. This is my user that I go to when I'm testing things, but this will allow you to see what it looks like for a bundle taker when they want to take a bundle. So I've assigned this bundle to my personal account here. I'm going to go ahead and refresh. And please ignore my personal emails there. And you'll see here, I'm on my user account. I have the bundle card that lives here. It has the description that I've given, and it also tells me who assigned it to me. From here, I start the session, and then it shows me exactly what workflows are in it and what payments are required, or if payments are even required. Once I click start, it's going to take me to that sample intake workflow, and that user is going to start filling it out, putting all the data in. And just like your regular workflows, all of the session data, all of that information will live on your data manager for you to access later. This just allows them to have a full bundle set of the workflows that are on their account in their portal. And so this is what their portal looks like with the bundle card, and that they can start that session. And then whenever you get to a payment required, it will then ask for the payment method. So that's kind of a brief overview, a very basic brief overview of bundles. There's a lot of other features and things to go into with it. There's a lot of use cases yet to explore, and I'm really excited for everybody to get their hands on it and ask a ton of questions about it. So is there anything specific that you guys would like to talk about?
That was amazing, Tricia. Thank you so much. It looks like there are, so to address the original question, which was that Admittedly, I use Gavel for a different purpose, but with the bundle, will it allow cross-coding or logic among the workflow in the bundle? Example, workflow 1 asks about their top 3 desserts. The second workflow only shows those 3 desserts selected and the questions associated. So it depends on how you set it up, of course. So you would need to make sure that you set up your second workflow in a way that makes it to where it displays those different things. But the answer would be yes, because of data persistence, that it would, instead of having to manually push information from one workflow into another, because they're logged in and they've already taken the first set of questions, if you can make sure that the underlying variables are going to be the same and the questions have the same answer choices for the 3 desserts, it should populate as associated with that. Tricia, you can correct me if I'm wrong on national TV.
It just depends a lot on how you'd like to set it all up. Again, Dennis, the same thing, like the data will be duplicated depending on the users and the user's login, right? So a regular user has data persistence. That's the same if you assign a workflow, an individual workflow outside of bundles, it maintains data persistence for that regular user. Organizational users and builders have a little bit different of an interface because they have a little bit of a different interaction with the services. So they may not want data persistence because you may want different data for your different clients.
That's a great question as well. And then, hi, Anja Sarah, how are you? You have a question as well. Do you want to go ahead and unmute and ask?
Yeah, of course. Can you hear me? Yeah, so I was wondering, on that step where you're setting up the price of the bundle, is there any way to have that be a conditional price? So if I have like a entity formation package and I want to have add-ons throughout the workflow, can I set like an invisible logic variable and then have this variable as the price at the end?
Wow, you are currently like thinking ahead of what we are future planning for our bundles. So thank you, Anja. But yeah, that's not currently acceptable with our program. It is a flat fee. So it is basically where you're paying that flat rate at the beginning or at the document generation. There's no way to actually manipulate that without utilizing different workflows. So maybe you have different bundle sets depending on certain things that you might present, so that maybe you ask a workflow with some first information and then guide them towards which bundle will be the correct bundle with the correct fee associated.
Is there another way of doing this where instead you would have, let's say, like you put together like a free one, but you have the Stripe paywall conditional within a workflow, perhaps?
Yeah, we are still currently, for everybody who does have the Stripe paywall currently within your workflows, those are still useful. They're still being used. I will give fair warning. There is a plan to phase out to move everyone to Stripe Connect, just because it is a much more robust system. But we want to make sure we have the features available so that you can utilize your Stripe paywall as you use it now within our bundle system before we force anybody to move over to bundles. So no fear there. Just know that your Stripe payment walls will still work how you have it currently set up. If you're going to use a bundle, we do say use the bundle for the pays, and then if you're going to have pay walls, they should be separate workflows, not as a the bundle. The bundle should be.
Interesting. Okay, that's a great question though, and it looks like people are really excited about this. So Dennis has a question. You're welcome to unmute, or I can share it for you. I'll just give you a second to decide.
I can ask it.
Yay! Hi, thank you.
You know, if I connect 3 workflows together and there's common variables in each workflow, like borrower name in my case, since I'm a mortgage lawyer, if they answer borrower name in workflow 1, will that automatically populate in workflow 2? Almost like you push the data from one workflow to another, like you can do in Builder.
Yes, you can do that with the type of user. So thinking about that, if it's a regular user, they maintain data persistence just the same. So you're correct, that would work that way. Within the organizational users or other users where there aren't the data persistence between workflows, that would then require you to use the data manager system to push that data through. There is certain levels of data persistence, just usually on the workflows, because you have different clients, right? So you might have different borrow names if you are a builder or an organizational user, dependent on how many times you're running that. Does that make sense, Dennis?
Yeah, I think so. Thanks. I think I could use this.
I think it should too.
Yeah, I think because I got to be part of the beta group, and that was like my biggest thing was originally the first kind of iteration when we were like still figuring it out. was the biggest key for me as well, that the data needed to persist for the user that's logged in. Otherwise, they're just, inputting the same information over and over. So once that was updated, I was like, okay, I'm in. So super helpful. Do you have any other questions, Dennis?
No, that's it.
Okay, I have a quick question, actually. So I think one of the biggest things for me personally is thinking a lot about the user journey. And so one of the barriers I have right now that maybe you can help me understand how other people have done this so far, or how you as a team have thought about this, is that idea of the step of making the person become a user on your subdomain. Because, maybe if there was a way we could, for example, maybe like have a little bit of instructions like ahead of the bundle, for example. I guess you could do that in the description. But is it like an enriched text where I could say, please, like before you start this bundle, go ahead and like create an account? Because sometimes it might be a little bit jarring for the user to see a sign-in page where they're not sure, like, am I allowed to create an account? Or so would you say it's best to just put those instructions like around the bundle, or just something to help the person know they need to create an account and that it's free first, and here's where you can do that? Or just thinking about like that user experience, how do they know they can create an account and they can do it for free, because it goes to the sign-in page, not the created account page, for different reasons. So if you can like talk around this, I know I'm not being very like eloquent right now, but I think you get what I mean.
Fine. I think that you have a lot of options here on how you want to set that up with the bundles. You can definitely have the bundles be, like we said, embedding on a website, whatever data you want to put around that website to help guide them through, like, this is the bundle card, this is, how you're going to log in, you're going to start your bundle and then create an account. And you can walk them through that process. Again, the descriptions is a great idea as a way to utilize that. It's just a matter of them getting to that card first. It could also be that you set them up to have them log in, and then you assign them the workflow, much like I did here. And then that way, when they first log in, they show up, then they have it already assigned to them. And it's like it's greeting them at that portal right when they log in. But it's a matter of how you reach out to your client and walk them through the process that you've created.
Okay, that's helpful. Thank you. I think I'm going to wrap this up here. Actually, we only have 1 minute before our whole thing is going to be over, but I did want to give Lisa, is she still on here somewhere? Lisa? She wanted to introduce herself. Hi, Lisa.
Sure. Hi, am I the only one? Hi.
Yeah, we'll just have you be the only one. You're a star.
Yeah. Okay.
And I just wanted to quickly ask you, since we're still recording, would you prefer that I stop recording to introduce yourself, or are you okay with it being on the recording?
I'm okay. Yeah, thank you. Thank you, everybody. It's amazing. Bundles sounds incredible. Thank you so much. I'm a freelancer. I'm on the Gavel site where it says hire an automator, and I've been working with Gavel for about 3 years. So I do legal tech, and I'm good at complicated projects, and I do design and implementation, and I do Zapier and Clio too. So that's good enough. Thank you so much. Nice to see everybody.
Thank you, Lisa. Thank you. So I'm just going to wrap us up here. Thank you all so much for the great questions about bundles. And thank you to Manuel for being here and for giving of your time. Next month, we're going to have Connor Malloy from the community, who is the project director for Rentervention, which is an initiative of the I think it's Law for Better Housing. I can't remember off the top of my head, but we're excited to have him come and talk to us about how you can use Gavel and kind of chatbots together in order to help our clients achieve their goals. So thank you all for being here. So nice to see everyone, and I'll see you all next month. Bye, everyone. Tricia, will you close us out?